now you come to your...
We're going down Manor Drive now.
Yeah. This is the view of all, Steve. You capture that, boy. This is it, Steve. Look at that. Boy, I'm really glad you were right. Get the ocean and everything. Look at that. This is my memorization of Pacifica in a lot of ways. Thanks to you, Steve, I would have never been down here. This is also Westlake down here, Steve.
Alright.
No, you can relate that part. I'll relate the house part. You relate what you remember as far as the rest down there. Yeah, this is all Westlake up here. Look at that water, Steve. Oh, it looks so calm. Fantastic. Love it. I was very blessed to live down here. So you're going to build more homes over here, Steve. Look at that.
All over, yeah.
A little space. So, now, public shopping area. The fact that I'd rather would walk around because it's fun for me also than just just driving through it.
I think last time I was down here, that was 79 cents for gas. Yeah, they changed the name of the store since I was here last time.
I forgot the name of it. What was the store over here?
Well, it used to be Super X years
Super
ago.
X, that's it.
Then I think it was something that started with a B.
You ready? Oh, I forgot. I gotta look. Now, ready? Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that we're on location for KGO News, and it'll be on in a couple of weeks after we edit it, and with two individual people, very creative. You'll see some cars going by as Steve scans the area. You'll notice that he's taking some shots of the hardware store, the trees, and everything else. And you also notice that he's just bringing back his childhood. The poor thing. Anyway, he looks back right now. He's looking at the trees, and just watch as he cameras. We'll have a little silence here. Okay, enough for silence now. He's fixing a hardware store, and a little bit right there you'll see a gas station. You'll see some homes there, and as he's viewing, that's a part of the freeway that goes right into. This is a freeway that goes down to San Jose, and if you want to go to whatever you want to go down south, and there's a Seaview Theater, and there's a Shell gas station coming up pretty soon, 76. And there's a La Bamba. Is that what's playing? Boy, really milking that picture, ladies. As Steve is viewing La Bamba, and I got to admit, they're still milking that picture because they're not getting that kind of crowds. But the picture was very good, though. Let's see now. Steve's fixing a restaurant, a few other cars, some cars. There's old Super X is now the Safeway. I want to let you know about the shopping area. I want to let you know it's very unappealing. You'll notice that it looks now as it did 30 years ago. Ancient. It's nothing modernistic or anything. What makes it modernistic, ladies and gentlemen, is McDonald's. They just flashed by. And there's the road that's coming down from Pacifica that comes from San Francisco. And as you see cars, yes, there are cars in this time. No robots, just cars. And there's more freeway. And Stevie's little by little going back to where he started. And there's the school, good old Pacific Manor School. In fact, if Stevie looks close, he'll see himself looking out the window there. Put on my Clark Kent glasses so I can become incognito and be able to emphasize certain places that Stevie's going to focus on. Right now, I want to let you know how Stevie got here. We lived at 76 Tulagi Road, which was a Navy housing project in San Francisco, and that was where Steve was born. Now, as Steve focuses away from the camera, away from me, little by little, we will now show Pacifica, where Stevie was later continued living his life out. And then little by little, and if you look closely where Stevie's shooting right now, you'll see the hills there. And at that time, those rows of houses that look like a mountainside there was vacant. There was purely hills only, no homes. And that was about, I'd say from 1946 to about 1955, it was purely vacant. I mean, there were no homes at all there. The homes came later on, I say in the last 15 years. And then further on, as Stevie goes up on a hill there, you'll see another home just isolated by itself. That was in the last maybe 10, 12 years. So you can see Pacifica was not Pacifica. Pacifica at that time was called, when we lived here, was called Pacific Manor. Like I said, Pacifica did not exist. It was the first community was, when you come off the freeway, it was called Edgemar, Pacific Manor, then Shaw Park, Manor Village, and then Lindemark came later. And Pacifica came from the incorporation of. So in other words, when Steve was born and Kathy and Jackie, Pacifica did not exist. It was Pacific Manor. So I want to say for the record, Steve, Kathy, and Jackie lived in Pacific Manor, not Pacifica. That shot that Steve's taking now is Pacific Manor Hardware. Now that's been here since Steve was born, and I moved here back in '46. So that what I'm saying is that Pacific Hardware, that's all new. That corner place where the bakery is used to be Pacific Manor Drugs. I don't know if you remember that. But that Rexall used to be a drugstore there. The rest are just new places. And the corner used to have the gas station there, which they don't have anymore. Taco Bell's new, and then the real estate's all new. But there used to be a gas station used to be Richfield, where we used to get boron. And guess what rhymes with boron? Moron! More Meats is the place that we later used to get our meat for our freezer, period. So you'll know what that meant. We used to stock in the freezer. We used to get a supply of about 1.5 years supply of meat. That's what the freezer did for the Diaz family. And we used to have cookies, bakeries, chickens, everything.
Hershey chocolates.
Hershey chocolates, cookies, and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, as Stevie takes a quick shot, that's Manor Drive that goes up in the hill. And I used to walk down the hill and up the hill and I used to thumb. But Manor Drive is 4 blocks up to your left is 428 Fremont Avenue. And say hello to the people. Hello, you tourist Jew. That's okay, folks. We're on camera. Anybody wants? I'm sorry. We don't interview strangers. This is a Diazo production. Hey, I like that. Or yeah, Diazo production.
Say Dad.
Okay, let me know.
Anytime.
Okay, Stevie's just taking casual shots. You can see Steve's hungry, folks, because he's watching that bakery place. He can't wait till we eat later when we go to Piper's and we can stuff our stomachs.
You want to ask that lady if she wants to hear a couple of tips?
Hey, look, take a picture of that girl there, taking the. See the picture of the girl? They're taking camera. That's okay, folks. You look wonderful. Ta-da! We're having fun. You see, we were just.
I feel embarrassed.
We were just being laughed at by 3 ladies, and it was fun. Steve's a little shy about it, but I'm not. That's the difference between Steve and I. The older I get, the crazier I get. So let me enjoy my craziness, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, don't forget, folks, this is the Azza production, and if you ever want to look at my book publishing, it's called The Mark of Zorro Publishing. There is a difference, folks.
What's the name of your book, sir?
The book is named Is This Your Life? And it has to do about you. Y-O-U. Not me, you.
Any words?
Oh, well, what can you say about Pacific Manor? What can you say about Pacifica that you haven't heard 1,000 times from Steve and I? But I will say this. When I was married to Steve's mother, Marilyn, this was a very nice place to live here because it was new, it was affordable, and it had a nice area, and we were both young kids then. And I never regret living here because it gave the kids a home. And for my life, I had lived in apartments all my life, so this was a new experience for me, having my own home. Isn't that and if we put this wire in front of us, we'll get that too, you know. Now remember, this is purely unrehearsed and it's being silly, so don't take it from a serious. Did you see that? Oh, I want to let you know that shake you felt was an earthquake. Yes, it was 5.6 on a Richter scale.
But here's Pacific Manor School, and Pacific Manor School where Kathy and Jackie and I'm all nervous.
Come on, you.
Bad help. Hey, got at the school now, and I was mentioning to Dad how nervous I get when I'm talking around other people. Pam would say just the opposite. And I just kind of pan the school a little bit right now.
Oh!
Please. We are having fun, folks. And that Kathy and I used to come down here a lot, and I think we used to ride our bikes and roller skate and play in the playground.
And if you look closer, you can see them now 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Somewhere.
I know you can.
Little kids, yeah.
The mind can reflect that, Steve, you know. Yeah, and we'll definitely go by Analthea's house too.
All right.
Let's see, what was that? What was her address on something? I know where the house is. No problem there.
It's Pico or something like that.
No, not Pico. No. He'll come back to me pretty soon. It's normally I always remember that number. Carmel Avenue, 347 Carmel, I think it was.
That's right.
It was close to Pico State. You were very good.
Or a walk, because that adds a little bit of dimension too.
You know, another thing, when you're walking, does that show a steady shot too?
At times. Just a lot of times it doesn't.
I would think not, because you're bound to have a little shake here and there.
I remember one time being pushed into the girls' bathroom down there.
And did Stevie like it?
Did Stevie like it?
Because he was a dirty young man at that time.
He was too embarrassed at that time.
That's what he says, ladies and gentlemen. But he has such fond memories of Margot.
And we are walking up Manor Drive.
Oh, should I say something?
Sure.
Oh, Steve was asking me a question about what memories this brought up to me walking up in the hill. So for me, it was just coming home from work late at night, or in the mornings going down the hill to go to work. So in other words, it seemed like to me it was just going up and down the hill, going to work and coming from work, and that's just about all. And going to the movies with the kids and stuff like that. But aside from that, it was this hill basically to me was a working walk, night job and day job, and that's it. That's the way life is, you know. You got to work for a living. Work for a living. But in my case, I didn't have any cars, so I had to walk for a living, plus work. Hey, I'm not complaining. It's just.
When did you start driving, Dad?
Oh yeah. We bought Analthea and Uncle Carr's car.
Uncle
Uncle Ralph and Analthea's car back in. After 7 years, and it was when Mal and I were married, lived here for 7 years. We finally bought a car, and we bought that car, and then Analthea taught me how to drive, and then from then I got a driver's license, and then I used to take the car now. No, I still thumbed a lot because Marilyn used to take the car because she needed it for the kids. So basically, I still took a bus to work most of all the time. I always took a bus. In fact, I always took the bus to work, or I used to have other people to give me a ride to work. So I was never taking responsibility of my own transportation. I usually depend upon somebody else to do it for me, which I find kind of sad now as I think about this moment. I had to rely on other people to do it for me. I want to give a little philosophical thought here. You ready? Oh, okay. Okay, I want to let you know as I'm walking up in the hill, and Steve is too. If you look at some of these homes that you've seen here on the camera here, you'll notice that this is a ranch type housing area. You know, it's just ranch type, which means it's all on one flat, and it's no 2 or 3 story highs. But if Stevie walks up a little further, I will show you a house I just noticed that's changed this whole structure, that's completely changed into modern times. But basically, all these homes here you see are strictly the homes that goes back the people who sold it and the new people who live in it, and just time itself. But here's something interesting that I'd like Steve to take a picture of, and it'll change the whole thing now. As Steve takes a picture of this house that's coming up to with a woman and a child, now this is one home that's completely changed because they added things to it. Remember, you have to look at this home now purely as a ranch style, but it's no longer ranch style because they added, if you notice, the bedrooms, and they added the garage to it, and everything's been uplifted, you see? So it's no longer ranch style. So this is the only house that I've seen so far that's changed in a ranch style development that's been over 45 years of age. And now what Stevie's focusing is good old 428 Fremont, and take a sign of that, Steve.
We got it.
Okay, Steve's already took a shot of Fremont, which is God bless America. And this is the D. This is a 428 Fremont. And this house was, I forgot that woman's, I forgot that. But that used to be that was a stucco house, and they changed that a lot. They became it's brick now, all brick. But the 3rd house is 428 Fremont. That's the house, and it looks just the same. All the change looks like as I'm looking at it. Oh, it's not on voice? Is it on here? Yeah. Oh, you know, it's a funny thing. When I look at the house, and Steve showed it already, when you look at the 428, which I wish he would look at it, but Steve, since you're looking at me, I'm taking off my Clark Kent's, and who do I have in the house? 428 Fremont. That's with the garden hose on there. The house is just the same as it was when Steve was born. Only thing that's changed is the color. Nothing else. Now, I have no idea what the inside looks like. I could say one thing, it can't change that much inside because there's a concrete floor. But that house looks exactly the same. There you go. Another floor. Go ahead. You want to say anything? But no, I want you to go down further and see if you shoot down and see if they got that backyard like we used to have. Remember with the old brick fireplace there?
Here, yeah.
You moved here in 1951. That's when I had my
51.
job.
So I was about 2.5, 3 years
Yeah. Let me tell you real quickly how hard it was to get into this house. I asked my mother and father, which is Steve's grandparents, on my side, if I could have some money for a down payment on a house, and they said no. And I kept begging and begging until finally they gave me $700 as a down payment, and that's how Steve and I and Marilyn and Kathy and Jackie were born at 428 Fremont. But I'll tell you, it was a hell of a struggle getting the money from my mother and father. But they're lovable otherwise. Tight with the money, but they were okay, you know. But bless their hearts. Yeah, but I do remember the house next to us was the Nances. I remember that. I'm very curious if we get close to see what the backyard looks like, because that thing's out of memories. Was the cut in the lawn and also the that fence. Not the fence, but yeah, I always had the wooden fence there. Thank you.
Oh, I'm just recording these here because Kathy and I used to do hopscotch years ago.
One, two. You could mention that's the Nance's house next time. But they do keep it very nicely, you know that, Steve? I didn't think much about the kids in it because the kids was automatic, but nothing's changed in that house. Nothing.
Keep it up real nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Shall we continue our narration? The Nances that used to live next door here.
I remember that name. Yeah, Nance's was next door, and I want to go back again to thank that lady on behalf of Steve and myself, because she was very, very nice to do that. And Steve mentioned especially that the unusualness of a woman let the strangers come in. But again, Steve and I, we do look like clean-cut, earthly people, so we're not a Jekyll and Hyde stuff, you know. But it was unusual her inviting sin. But let me say, when Steve and I was inside, nothing from my point of view. The inside the house looks just the same as if Steve and I and Kathy and Marilyn was still in it. Nothing's changed. Just the furniture and things like that. But the one bedroom garage. I mean the one garage, you know, and then the bedrooms are all the same. I can visualize Marilyn and I still being in it with the kids. In its own way, you know, as far as that goes. But interesting said that
used to do the same thing years ago.
Now, if I remember correctly, this was the Joe's house.
That's the Joe's house.
And wasn't our last visit, Mr. Joe was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we visited here last time, we saw Mr. Joe, and he was glad to see us, and he looked the same, bald as usual. Charles Joe, whatever, since Steve's feeding me the answers here. But if you look at the two-car garage, and now there was some work done, because if you look at the front entrance, you'll see it's enclosed. Now, if you look at most of these homes around here, you'll notice that their front porches are all open. The lady said also the people are very nice in this neighborhood, which is very nice. And besides, this is low end. This is what you call a little bit above the three-tone. No, two-tone in the window.
See, I don't know if you remember the Boudinots.
I remember that name. That was their house, right?
Uh-huh.
The Boudinots. I remember that name. Yes, I remember the Boudinots. You know, well, we all got funny last names, Diaz's. You know, like when I was a kid, Diaz is the most important part of the body. You know what I mean? Now Steve stuck with it. Yes, Sabrina, your father stuck with it. Remember, if you go to school and some kid says Diaz is the most important part of the body, now you know where they got it from your grandpa. Gee willikers.
If you got anything else you want to say, man, you can feel free.
Oh, well, Steve's just taking a back shot of Fremont, going down to Manor Drive, and then look at the houses. It's like his last parting shot of Pacific Manor and where he lived. I can feel that's what he's feeling like. He's saying farewell to 428 Fremont Avenue. It was a nice place to be in my time of life. However, life went on, and now I have a wonderful wife. I'm speaking on behalf of Steve, of course. I have a wonderful wife named Pam, and a wonderful daughter named Sabrina. But now we're living in Ben Loma, which is a different life, and I'm grateful for that. Of course, I'm still talking for Steve. And you can trust him, folks. He's with me, and how trustworthy can you get? Right now I'm right in the sun, and that's fun. I haven't been in the sun for so long. I need some sun. Oh, I love sun. Ah, I'm a sun freak at times. And Steve, I get to notice is kind of a shy guy a little bit. But maybe somebody can pick up some of my aggressiveness and my BS a little bit. That always helps. Talking?
Yeah.
Gosh, I like when Steve puts me on camera and I don't even know about it. I hate to see all that valuable time being unused for a microphone since I'm here. And I'm such a ham, I just love to talk whatever the hell I'm talking about. Nothing in particular. I will say this though, Pacific Manor is a very nice area. It's a very reasonable area to live in. And it's as close as one of the things I liked about this place, aside from being affordable, is the fact that it was close to San Francisco, which means it was about 15 miles away. And Steve was taking more straight pictures of the homes. This is called Nelson Drive, which is just past Fremont Avenue. And this is going up Nelson Drive until finally you see those homes again I told you earlier, which was just vacant land, not vacant, vacant land. And now you got homes up there. And Stevie's laughing. That's why the camera's shaking. But aside from that, this is the backdrop of Pacific Manor, not Pacific Manor. I remember looking up the street many times. And in fact, walking up there from time to time. And then if you go up higher, you see the hills. That was called Sea View. That was those homes way up in the hills there. But since he's not looking at the hills, forget about it, folks. So let's get down there. We see a car coming upon us. And in fact, I got a fact that's shooting for us.
Coming from a couple different directions.
In fact, it's bad brakes, folks. That's the way it is.
I guess you could say that's the brake. So.
That's good. That was a joke by Steve. I don't know if you heard that. When that car was putting on the brakes, and then Steve says, "Well, I guess that's the brakes of life, you know." So you see, Steve fans are funny every now and then.
Hey, cars are coming behind me. Let me know.
No, Sabrina, if you got good insurance on your father, that your father asked me to tell you if there's a car coming down upon him, but I decided to let him know because you know he still has a whole life of bills to pay yet, so I don't want to stop. Meaning your college education, hon. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, that was really a low blow there. That's true. College bills and everything else. But no, I'll tell you, I was very glad when I was a young kid to have moved into an area like this because it was nice and it was a good place for the kids to be brought up in. Especially as getting away from the city. That's important. For these kids not to be brought up in a city environment. It's okay to be brought up in a city environment, but it's nice to have a little bit of a home life, and that's what this provided them for, wherever life took them to. Kathy has her life, Steve has his life now, and but at least they had a taste of a decent home life in terms of living in a house, and they met some good friends in their lives, and life went on for them.
You can go now.
Okay. Steve made the statement just now that, which he's taking a picture of right now, that we used to have friends, and I couldn't help from laughing at that statement.
At the yellow house.
At the yellow house, because I can't visualize Stevie having friends. Now, if you want to laugh at that, Pam, you go right ahead. Right now, I don't know if you can hear that plane overhead, but it's really a bomber. But that's okay. Right now, Stevie's taking a picture of a creek. A dry creek. There's no water right now, but that's okay. But this is the charm of Pacific Manor. No, actually, I beg your pardon, folks. This is not Pacific Manor. This is called Edgemar. This is the first part when you come into Pacifica. The first community is called Edgemar. Stevie's now taking a picture of Pacific Manor. There's a fine line between Edgemar and Pacific Manor. The creek separates it. Actually, when I think of it right now.
Is this really Edgemar over here?
Yeah, right here. From here on, from this creek.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is Edgemar. This is not Pacific Manor anymore.
I didn't realize that.
Well, now Stevie knows. See, and after all these years, and Steve's not a young man anymore. Do you realize, Sabrina, that your father's going to be 40 years old in April?
You know what?
And Stevie says, you know what?
You know.
Oh. Oh, God. Okay. I thought it had significant value.
Well, this just gets me down into.
Oh, towards the schoolyard. Okay. Now, that's a nice yard that Steve's taking a picture of. A lot of yard work. That's one thing Dad never had any trouble about. All his problems was just getting the yard squared off. I wasn't into fancy gardening. Oh, I'm not even on a microphone.
Remember those horrible gutters that you used to have?
Oh yeah, they had to be squared off. They had to be trimmed to a T. This is none, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
It was great for shooting marbles down, though. I used to play marbles a lot.
Steve used to say that. I remember that vaguely now. Yeah, I had this fixation.
Walk out of the street.
No, I had this fixation when it came to the gardening that that the garden had to be squared off like a postage stamp. No dirt, no weeds, no nothing. And I don't know why, but.
You want to walk down the street here?
Yeah, okay.
Let's walk down this one here.
Okay, I don't know why I did those things. Now time I did something unusual.
The house right behind you there, that tan one
Yeah.
with the porthole garage, that was the Brunger's house. That house
Okay,
is
Brungers.
direct-
Oh, Brungers. That's it, Brungers.
That house is directly behind
Our own house, which is right over there.
Well, it's the next one. That's the Nance's house over there.
That's the Nancy's. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I knew the Brungers. I just forgot the locale of the Brungers.
See, that was,
Did they have a lot of kids, or was that wrong
I
in that?
remember Judy, and I think there might have been a Debbie
Oh,
Brunger also.
That's it. Judy Brunger and Debbie Brunger.
Because
Yeah.
Debbie, I remember, used to have blonde hair, I think it was. And Judy, she was about the same age I was, friend.
Uh-huh. That's a nice.
That kind of thing.
That's a nice little driveway. I mean, that's a nice little setting.
I think,
have.
I think it's always been like that.
Oh, has
I mean,
it? This I don't.
not
I don't
that-
remember. I remember one of the neighbors here who used to drive me to work. His name was Don Brewer. I don't know if Steve remembers. The
Maybe that was
Brewers.
Debbie Brewers who I was-
Yeah, it was Debbie. Yeah, okay. Debbie was the daughter's name. I forgot the wife's name, but it was Don Brewer, and he used to ride me to work in the morning. You know.
There were people
Yeah.
that used to live at this corner house down here.
Wait a minute. This one.
This
that
one right here
Okay, no comment.
was the Babbs. Shirley Babbs. I
I remember that
I
name.
remember Mom.
Very good,
They used
Steve.
to have Our Savior's Lutheran Church
Very
before
good.
it opened.
The Babbs.
Had meetings there. They had their Sunday school and everything for the kids. And I remember Mom being close friends with her.
Okay, let me. That one. So,
Right here on this corner, this gray one, right here.
okay, who
These
was that?
people here, I used to go to Weblo's.
Okay, what was their name?
I don't remember.
all right.
But I used to come down for Weblo's here.
The
and
Babbs.
At that time, I was in about about the 6th grade, I think.
It's funny how you throw out the names and all of a
Remember
sudden,
that.
I remember the Babs.
Yeah, it just brings back a lot.
God, I mean, I don't remember much about them, but I do remember the name. Just the Bab name, that's all. Bab name. Anyway.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Talking to it again.
Mommy. Okay, as Stevie's taking my view up behind me, I'm looking in front of me, and I can see the rest of Pacific Manor going to the hills. That goes into that has a name. That's Edgemar. This is Pacific Manor, and that's something else. Another name that they had.
Park.
No, Sharp Park's over the rise.
On this
over the
side
rise.
of the hill?
Yeah, right over here. This next block has another area name. Another housing unit. Like this is Pacific Manor. That had another name. Like that had Edgemar. Sharp Park is you have to go around a turn a half a mile.
Treating a lot through here, Dad.
Okay.
And that with Kathy and I used to always compete a lot on who could get the most.
Speaking of trick or treating, it's time again, folks. Whether Steve forgot or not.
No,
right?
I didn't. Next week.
Okay. And Steve needs candy, so feed him, folks.
Kathy and I used to compete a lot with each other. I think Jackie was about 4 years younger than I am, so she didn't keep up quite as well with us.
I'd like to be the parent of a kid like that who likes his drums.
I wouldn't want to be the neighbor of the parent of the kid.
Okay, touche. I'll hold it.
Dad, anything else you want?
Well, as we're leaving this area for the moment.
It shows like the hills behind and that's the various things that haven't changed. I remember the Nike bases. Nike
Oh, yeah,
bases
yeah,
through here years ago.
Somewhere in the hill here, right?
Yeah.
Nike base. I forgot about that name, but yeah, we had a Nike base.
I remember that back in, when you're thinking about the 50s and the
Yeah.
developments and the...
Oh, yes, I remember now. That house over there, if Steve wants to take a shot at, 1, 2, 3, that house with a man, you can see a man standing up there. That used to be the house called Coe, Charles Coe, C-O-E. And that gentleman used to ride me to work every morning. He was another person who used to ride me to work in the morning. There were 3 people that used to ride me to work in the morning because I had no car coming from 423 Mine. Are you ready for this? It was Don Brewer, Charles Coe, and Fred Bedford. I almost forgot about him. Fred Bedford. And he used to ride me. So 3 different people I used to depend upon. I used to get to work in the morning. They used to live here. Isn't that something? Still playing? Okay. Jackie, you and your mom coming up the hill if you want to focus down there.
Oh, years ago.
Yeah, of course. 40 years ago to be exact. Play there has been here for the beginning of time.
Chevrolet dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be the main street. What used to be across here where the freeway is right now?
The old country road. The old country
The
road.
old country road?
Yeah.
But this wasn't the old country road right here?
No, this is the road, but they just had an old road here. They used to go in out of Pacifica.
What I was curious about is what was going on here.
No, this was the old country road that used to go before the freeway. Used to go on the side of the road there, side of the mountain where the ocean is. There used to be a two-car road. And that's it. Oh yeah. No, what it used to be here was aside from this freeway down below, it was just an old country road, and that road used to take you inside Pacifica and outside Pacifica, because you just have to visualize. Forget about the hill that didn't exist. It was just the old road and things like that. That's okay, folks. Anyway, so that's what existed in its time. So since Steve asked that question about what was the highway here, and it was purely it fitted the Pacific Manor area, isolated and away from everything, very unincorporated at that time. So if Pacifica grew, the freeways came about. Hey Steve, I got an idea. Let's get the milkshake now because we'll be too close to supper time, okay? Aaron to come here. This is like coming out to the sticks, if I remember correctly.
Let's walk over that way there.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way of calling this area, but this was the sticks. Before it became, centralized like a city. Not many people have to. A lot of people have equipment you have, but they're not creative enough to want to do what you and I are doing, and yet they can do it if they want to. Don't you think so, Steve?
Well, I think so.
They can. No reason why they can't.
Anything about all this area here?
No, nothing. No, nothing. Not for me, anyway.
I remember one time. I was just thinking about it. Across the street one time, over next to the hardware store. There used to be a Chinese restaurant, I think.
Which is still there.
Yeah, we went there when Grandma and Grandpa Diaz came down. We went there one time.
I remember that now, yeah.
And then we went to the Seaview Theater that night. And so...
No, we'll save that for the ending. What kind of memories does... remember that question you asked something about, and I'll tell you... I'll see if I can remember my train of thought again, as you mentioned. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I remember it. Only time modernization will come in when you go into a Safeway store. See if that looks modernization. I don't know.
Okay, Dad, what kind of memories did you have with regards to being down here from 51 until about April of 61?
Well, the memories I had was that I was glad to be down here because it was affordable for my family, but going beyond that, all I can remember was just the strugglings. In other words, I mean strugglings like we had no car for 7 years, so that means I had to thumb a lot, and I had to depend upon other people for transportation. I'm enjoying myself in life, and what helps me a lot is this book of mine. It gives me a lot of things that make me think, and it just stimulates my mind. That's it.
What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is This Your Life? By Zorro Publications. Sam Zorro. Ha 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 ha.
Dad, you want to sign it off and I'll go ahead.
As I'm signing off on behalf of Diazzo Productions, I want to say that it was very nice that Steve thought of the idea to come down here. And little did Steve realize that it would just be memories for himself, because it brought back memories for me in certain degrees. Not unpleasant memories, just landmark. But to go beyond the landmark, what the landmark is right now where Stevie's standing on, Pacific Manor, not Pacifica, Pacific Manor. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it as much as Stevie and I enjoyed doing it. Thank you, and God bless you all. Amen.